Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Gentech PC product showcase. Today we're going to be taking a first look at the brand new Sager NP9570. This is a 17.3 inch Desknote that is a hybrid between a desktop and a notebook. This full-on desktop replacement laptop actually has inside of it the Intel 2011 socket that holds the full-size, full-power desktop Core i7 CPU. In addition to that, it can hold 4 sticks of RAM, 3 hard drives, and 2 video cards, so it can be configured with a maximum loadout to meet, beat, and exceed a lot of people's full-size desktop systems. We'll get into more details about all the system specifications as we get to that part of the showcase, but for now let's go ahead and start taking a tour of the unit. Starting out in the keyboard area, you will notice that all the keys are fully backlit and these can be configured to change different colors. And above the keyboard area we have many of our status LEDs. All of the LED notifications come through bright and clear and make them easy to see. Down below the keyboard area where the palm rest is, you'll notice that everything is a nice black brushed aluminum. This gives it good scratch resistance, good durability, and it also looks very appealing to the eyes. In the center you'll find the touchpad. Along the frame it is also illuminated. It does have independent left and right clicks, and there in the center you're going to find a fingerprint scanner. Down in the very front of the unit on the left and right side you'll find some openings. This is simply for some ventilation for the hardware inside. And we do have some status LEDs over to the right as well. Moving along to a 360-degree view so you can see the unit from all sides and angles. Right now the unit is configured with a 16:9 aspect ratio glossy screen, but it can be configured to a matte type display if you'd prefer. On the back, you're going to find the illuminated Sager logo in the center. Also, you'll notice the entire LCD lid is made out of the same black brushed aluminum finish that you found in the front of the laptop. While the Sager NP9570 is no doubt really massive due to its desktop replacement status, it does keep a really good appearance due to the black brushed aluminum and all of the LED lighting that you can find all over the unit. Now with our 360-degree tour finished, let's go ahead and take a closer look at all of our interfaces along the side of the laptop. Starting along the right side of the laptop, in the very front you have all of your audio input and output. The first one is your line in, second is SPDIF output, third is your microphone input, and the fourth is your headphone output. Then you have 2 standard USB 2.0 ports. And then a little bit further in the back near the corner you have your Kingston lock port. When you get around to the back side of the laptop, you'll see that it's filled almost in its entirety with exhaust vents. There are 4 different sections filling up the entire back other than the DC power input in the center. All 4 of these sections are actually used by their own independent fans for exhaust, keeping the system cool due to the dual graphics cards, RAM, hard drives, and desktop CPU inside. Once we finally get around to the left side, we're going to find a lot more of our connectivity. The very first thing here is a DVI-I port for displays. Next is your RJ45 for your wired internet. Then an HDMI port, a display port, USB 3.0 port, a combo eSATA USB 3.0 port, FireWire, and yet another USB 3.0 port. Down below that is your optical drive. This one comes with a DVD drive, but it can be easily upgraded to any of the Blu-ray assortments if you prefer. For the sake of completion, we're going to go ahead and show you one more 360-degree look at the laptop with the LCD lid in the closed position. Now it's time to talk about and start showcasing some of the internal hardware that the 9570 has. Again, this can be configured in a variety of ways depending on what you choose when you purchase the laptop, but inside of ours we have the dual GeForce GTX680 mobile video cards. And for choice in CPU we have the Core i7 3820 at 3.6 GHz. this Desknote will support a full 6-core desktop i7 CPU. Over in the hardware IDs, we have the monitor model for you if you are interested. It is the AUO149D. To start off some of our benchmarking, we first have our Windows WEI index score. It is only a 5.9 here because the lowest score is always your base score, and the hard drives that we have inside right now are the slowest part. Now moving into some of the display options available to you if you have dual graphics cards installed. Keep in mind that this Desknote supports the Nvidia GPUs and not the AMD ones. Right now this is all of your SLI options. You can choose to have SLI turned on or off, and you can independently control the physics settings. You can make it use the CPU, or you can set it to use one of your graphics cards. If you choose to, you can even have one of the graphics cards completely dedicated to physics. This could come in handy on some games that don't play too nicely with SLI, and therefore you won't have to waste your second card completely if the game uses physics. Now we have started running 3D Mark 11 on the system. This is one of the most important and most popular performance benchmarks right now for high-end computer systems. While we let that benchmark run in progress, we're going to go ahead and take temperatures of the exhaust in the back. This is just a general guideline of what kind of heat you can expect from the system, but being that this is the exhaust, it's actually going to be higher than the core temperatures inside because it's getting rid of all the heat, and that these numbers being high is actually good because it means the heat is not staying inside of the system, but is instead being taken out of the system. Even with that being the case though, the temperatures that we're seeing come out of the system are actually pretty low considering the type of hardware that's being pushed inside. Also, of pretty much equal importance is going to be the temperatures in the front of the laptop where you're going to be interacting with it. What you want to look for here is any spikes in temperature, especially near the keyboard or the palm rest, that you would feel while operating the laptop. This can give you discomfort and give you sweaty palms and things like that. So far this unit doesn't show any spikes in temperature anywhere, and it stays nice and cool. Having let the computer benchmark completely finish now, you can see that we got a performance score of 10,019. Again, this is 3D Mark 11, not any of the older variants. So make sure when you're comparing scores, you're comparing the exact same version of 3D Mark. Moving over to the GPU-Z information, this is all the information on the GTX680 Mobile. You can see that these video cards run with a massive full 4 GB of GDDR5 video RAM. And as for the temperatures that were monitored during the benchmark, you can see here that the Core i7 only managed to hit a maximum of 68 degrees Celsius on one of the cores. That's well within tolerance. That's considered a very cool running CPU. And down below the independent video cards here, we got a 56 degrees on one of them and a 60 degrees on the other. That is very cool for a high-end GPU to be running in a laptop. And now just for a quick demonstration of the options that you have in the system BIOS. Both of your video cards are recognized here. You can see our BIOS version and our CPU that we're using. Under the chipset control, you have a few options here. One of the most important is under your SATA mode. You can use the standard AHCI mode, which is how it came configured, or you can choose to use the hardware RAID. Since you have 3 hard drives for the system, you can use a lot of different RAID options. And the last things that you'll find before you exit the BIOS is simply your boot options. Now that we have the unit turned over, you can get a look at some of the intake on the bottom. Here in the center, these little slits are for ventilating the hard drives, and the 4 circular openings that you see across the body are going to be the intake for the 4 fans. Taking out the smaller center section first here, you'll see that you have a rather large opening, and that's designed for a special cage that holds 2 different hard drives. Directly behind that, you'll see that we have the other part of the laptop taken off as well, and you see all 4 of the cooling fans. If you open up the left side compartment, you're going to find one more hidden spot for the 3rd and final hard drive. Since you do have multiple hard drives available to you, it's probably your best option to get at least one solid state disk installed. That way you can install your operating system and all of your programs on there for faster access and better performance. After doing this, you still have 2 more hard drives available that you can use for high capacity storage devices. Now it's time to remove the heat sinks and show you the hardware that's underneath of those. On the left side, you have 2 fans responsible for one very large heat sink. This one here cools the desktop CPU and also the chipset for the motherboard. This is a very heavy duty and robust heatsink. It's large in size and has a lot of copper on it. If you go and place it on a scale, you can see that just on its own it comes in over 1 pound's worth of weight. Moving further along in the disassembly of the unit, you have the 2 intake fans on the right hand side. Each one of these is dedicated to their own heatsink, and underneath of those heatsinks is each of the dedicated video cards. On the far side of the laptop away from that, you're going to have some of your system RAM. Now we'll go ahead and focus here in the center. This is again an LGA 2011 desktop Intel Core 7 socket. This is a full-size, full-power desktop CPU, so this is exactly what you'd be getting in a full-size tower. And now we go ahead and disassemble the front side of the unit. The LED display bar is now removed. You can see underneath of it all of your speakers. You have 1 on the far left, 3 in the center, and then 1 on the far right. So that gives you 5 speakers in total. And now for underneath of the keyboard, you'll see that there's pretty much nothing here, including no hidden RAM slots. The full unit, when it's put on top of the scale with the battery and everything, is at 13.4 pounds. So again, this is no lightweight. Probably not something that you want to carry around all day, although not impossible. If you throw in the charger as well, you're at 16.3 pounds. While this is heavy compared to various laptops out there, when you're comparing it to a full-size desktop system, this is actually very light, and of course it's much more portable. So what it is and for what it does, it's actually not bad in the weight and size ratio. And to give you a little bit further reference as far as the size, you can see that when it's standing up on its own feet, that's about 3 inches in the back. And over in the front, it's about 2.5. And that, everybody, is going to conclude the first look showcase of the Sager NP9570. If you'd like to discover more information about this unit, all you have to do is visit our website, gentechpc.com. There we have the current pricing and availability, full system specifications, and more. Remember that this is a very customizable model, and that our ordering process allows you to choose exactly what you want to have included and not included. That means you get the best price possible for what you need, and everything's going to be built for you and sent to your door and covered under full warranty. If you have any further questions or need additional help that our video didn't cover for you, then by all means feel free to contact us by phone or email. We're always more than happy to help you out. We hope that you enjoyed the showcase video and found it both entertaining and educational. Once again, this was GenTech PC, and we'll see you next time.